a bias in their model, even harder to prove. So what did we do? We said we need the data of the people, the scores of the individuals. And in Germany, again, as in, I guess, most European countries, even before the GDPR, you have the right to ask for your score by law. So we set up a platform. We teamed up with Open Knowledge Foundation Germany. We set up a platform. We didn't set up a platform. We used the platform that was already there for people to automatically or online ask for their score, because usually you need to ask them by sending them a letter or a fax, right? So we use that platform where people type in their data, and then the platform sends the fax. Now, that's clever, isn't it? So when we started the campaign, I think they got about 10,000 requests in the first day, right? Or in the first 2 days. I don't know how many interns they had there to fill the fax machine with paper, but they were pretty pissed off, They put out a 5-page statement saying that we are enemies of the state, or at least the German economy, because this is a very, very credible system, and it needs to be there to have a smooth credit system and all of that. And anyway, who could be interested in finding out more about the way this thing works, except for the people who want to game it? Yeah, well, So we were very happy about that statement, you can imagine. No? And we basically also knew that they don't have anyone for crisis PR at this company. Or at least, they will beginners. So again, what happened was we got a lot of attention. We teamed up with journalists, so they put out a lot of stories, and it was quite big. But again, it turned out to be very hard to get the data that you need to do this, because you have a selection bias, the people, again, who follow these campaigns and are willing to ask for their scores and then upload them to you. Even though we produced a pretty nifty upload platform where you can use your smartphone, just take a picture, upload it, black out some of the information, and then fill out a questionnaire with additional information. In the end, 30,000 people who requested their score via this other platform, only about 3,000 people gave it to us. And of those 3,000 people who gave it to us, many of them had quite a good credit history, right? Which is nice for them. Not so much for us though, because only with the other stuff you can find out where there really is a problem. But I'll be coming to questions in a minute. I'll finish right now. Still, we are not disappointed, because there's a lot that came out of it. Most of the publication, of course, so far is in German. We also always try to give a summary of what is happening. And this week, there'll be stories out by our journalistic partners that we don't know what they entail, because they don't talk to us about this. We just give them the data, that's the deal, They do their stories, they don't talk about this with us, and then when they're published, we can read them and hopefully find out ourselves that they found out something interesting about how this whole thing works. And this is, 3 examples of what we do. And we'll do more of that in the future if funding allows. And of course, we are very interested. I'm very interested now to hear your questions, and we are also very interested to hear about examples. And there's one thing that I'd like to announce at the end. If you go to our website, still on the first page, there is an entry that says we created the Algorithmic Accountability Reporting mailing list. It is not for journalists only, it's also for all kinds of researchers who are dealing with this. So if you like, sign up. There's not much going on so far because it's really new and it takes some time before a mailing list gets going. You need to push some content on it that's interesting and get people to discuss this stuff. So if you're interested, please join the mailing list and also send some good examples and start discussing there. And thank you very much.
Is this one?
That's the newsletter. Of course, you can also now subscribe to the newsletter, but the newsletter is just push. It tells you what we are doing. We have an English version, so please go ahead. I'd be happy if you subscribe to the newsletter. But for the discussion, it's the mailing list. As I said, this is our homepage right now. And here it still says Algorithmic Accountability Reporting Mailing List launched, and there you'll find the enormously complicated URL because it's hosted by a German university. It's about 50 characters long or something like that. So I can't just give it to you. You have to look it up. There was the first question already.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe you guys could actually score the scoring company.
We could score the scoring companies. Yeah, I mean, in the end, I talked to Anna, who made her announcement before today in the afternoon, and there are many people around the world who have these ideas. So do we, and we've had them for a long time. But you can also imagine that if we do something like a certificate, that's pretty complicated because what are you going to certify exactly, and when you look into certification processes, they are quite big and quite complex. This is not to say that we can't do it. It's just that many people are starting to work on this right now to find out how you can audit systems. I'm not talking about algorithms. I mean, we are called AlgorithmWatch. We didn't want to call ourselves Automated Decision-Making and Decision Support Watch, right? It would be a little idiotic for a watchdog organization. But anyway, this is how we look at it, because we think that automated decision-making is what's at the core here. And we also not much use AI, because, I mean, what exactly was that, AI? It's similarly difficult to define what automated decision-making is, but still this is what this is all about, right? It's about automating decisions that have an impact on our lives, either as individuals or as societies. So this is why we use that framework, even though it's sometimes hard to explain to people that yes, we are talking about AI, but not in the sense that everyone else is talking about it right now. But yeah, we're trying to, we are working on this.
It's very interesting. I'm going to give you a mic.
Sorry, thank you.
Thanks. Do you have any interest in applying this AlgorithmWatch to certain big social media sites and how they use algorithms without data?
We do, of course. We did the Google thing, which is about not social media in the sense, but search. Also news, which is a little more, you could argue that it has a little more impact on society because it sort of structures the news that people get, but then you also have to ask how many people use Google News as an aggregator. It's not that many and so on. And the thing is, we thought long and hard and over again about Facebook and what you can do. And it's really, really difficult because it's such a closed platform. And now that they're getting so much pressure, I suppose many of you have heard that there is this initiative in the United States where a couple of large funders, one of these huge philanthropic societies, they said, together with, I think it was the ACLU and a couple of universities, said, we need to do something about this. And then Facebook said, yeah, let's have that initiative. And we can do research together on our data. But, it's very controversial because it'll still be controlled by Facebook. And you have the one set of people who argue, well, it's an opening, we have to use that opportunity to start doing work on this. And I think there's value to that argument. And then there's the other side of the aisle who says, it's only going to be whitewashing. Facebook controls everything, and in the end, only stuff will be published that's not showing how bad they are in charge or in control of their systems. And of course, there's a lot of value to that too. But we are not part of that. We are sometimes asked by Facebook, and there's a current when you're talking about this question of holding them to account. There's a very interesting discussion that just started because Facebook put out a blueprint for governance and enforcement on their platform when it comes to hate speech and content in general. And it's an interesting idea because they announced that they'll have an outside board that is independent from Facebook, and that will have the last say when it comes to contested content on their website. Because so far, if stuff is taken down, you have no way to contest that. I mean, now you have this mechanism, you have that, you can click on something and say, please look at this again. And if someone looks at it again and says, it'll still, be blocked, it'll still be blocked. And in the future, apparently, they envision a cascaded, scheme where in the end you have this outside board that decides about whether this content should stay up or not. I wrote about it on the website, so you can look it up. It's pretty complicated. I think it's a very, very interesting idea. I still don't think it's going to work, but that's not in the sense Facebook's fault, because they have the same problem that everyone else has. Speech is contextual. So in Germany, Holocaust denial is illegal. In the US, it's not. So if someone puts out Holocaust denial post in the United States, and someone in Germany says, please take it down, it has to be taken down for legal reasons in Germany. But if Facebook decides to take it down and someone appeals it and it goes to that board, and the board says, yeah, take it down, they'll get hell in the United States by free speech advocates and First Amendment people, So it's basically, right now, no one has an answer to a question like that. And it's sometimes unfair to just point the finger at Facebook and say, solve that problem, because no one can right now. We don't have an idea.
Hi, interesting talk. Ian Marsh, Research Institute in Sweden. Do you have any social scientists in your organization? If so, what are they doing? If not, why not?
We do. First of all, our organization right now has 8 people, and none of them has a full-time position except for the assistant, right? So that you get an idea of how big we are and what we do, and what we can do, what we can achieve. We would love to grow, and I think that the prospects are pretty good for that right now, because it's a hype topic, right? I mean, we know that ourselves, but we think it's important. We don't think it's important because it's a hype, we think it's a hype because it's important. So we hope that we can get more funding and grow. So we have right now 2 social scientists. One is a philosopher. The other one is, she has sociology as a background. And as I said, I have a background in philosophy. I don't know whether it falls into your definition of social sciences, but anyway. And when we do more complex stuff, where we say we can't just do that with in-house expertise, we team up with others. For example, we are doing a project on human resources management and workplace democracy, automated human resources management and workplace democracy. And there we partner with legal academics, we partner with a mathematician, professor at the University of Braunschweig, and we also partner with other people in our network to get this expertise at the table that we need to look at these systems holistically. That's how we try to approach this. Because of course I could easily think up an organization with 100 people looking at this, but maybe in 10 years.
It's very interesting. I have a final question, and that is, what upcoming projects do you have? Or do you have anything you can share that's current? Or maybe if you have any dream projects that you can't do at the moment?
Dream projects?
Yeah, maybe that's the most interesting question actually.
Yeah, we are right now thinking up some ideas about how to better look at the YouTube recommendations, right? I mean, I think many people are thinking about this at the moment, because it seems to become more and more important, because there are so many people getting their information from it. It's used as a pretty big search engine also. So this is what we are trying to do. one proposal we sent in was rejected, and I was a bit disappointed about that because I can't really understand why right now something like that is rejected. But we'll have different ways to follow up on that. And one project that we are currently doing, and you please keep your eyes open about that on our website or by following us on Twitter or the newsletter. We are right now compiling a report that we call Automating Society. It's a landscape report. That's the bullshit bingo that you use for getting grants for that. So we have 12 researchers in 12. We have more than 12 researchers. We have 12 countries in the EU that we are looking at, and we are just mapping the political discussions around this question of automated systems. We look at the question whether there are regulatory approaches, different ones, and also we collect examples of automated decision-making systems being deployed in these countries. An example like Siri in the Netherlands, and it's going to be, the chapters are all there. We are now editing all that. That takes some time, and we'll publish that at an event at the European Parliament, January 29th. And of course, we'll put it out on our website as a PDF, of course, and also try to extract some stories that are interesting. So keep your eyes open about that. And here again, of course, we are very interested in examples that people send to us and say, this could be interesting for you to look at. We would love to continue doing that. I don't know, in a room like this, it may sound a little boring because there's no data analysis included or something like that, but I think really this is important because right now all of the examples that are discussed are from the United States. The Compass algorithm and Amazon's suggestions and all that stuff. And all of this is going on in Europe all the time. And because we have, 24 different languages in 28 countries, it's very hard to get them all in one place and to do this kind of research. So we'd love to extend that to more countries and more in-depth research in the future. Okay.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Sorry.
No problem.